So many people collect AI tools like apps in their phone. They would download it, try it for a week, and then completely forgot about it. There's so much noise in the AI space right now, but nobody's talking about which tools are hype and which one is actually useful. Hi, I'm Laurie. I previously worked at Google, where I developed tech and digital training programs for businesses. And after testing hundreds of tools and training professionals on AI, I narrowed my own workflow down to 7 that I reach for almost every single day that powers 90% of my work. The first one up I want to talk about is chatbots. These are various language models that are available at the moment: ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. And you're probably thinking, which one do I actually use that's the best for me? Now, I want to address something that comes up often and constantly when I'm training others on AI. The assumption that all these general AI tools are basically the same, that it doesn't really matter which one you use. But that's just not true. And using them randomly is actually not a great strategy. So after a lot of trial and error with these tools in my own workflow and research, ChatGPT is the most obedient model. If you give it a complex set of instructions with lots of moving parts, it follows them to the letter. It doesn't skip steps or decide that it knows better, which is really useful if you're in the line of work that you need to make sure everything is followed to a T. So for example, let's say you are in law and you need to review documents against a very specific checklist. Start with ChatGPT as the safest option. So Claude is different. Besides being a great product, now that includes Claude Cowork and Claude Code, which I'll touch on in this video, and also in this video series that are coming soon on AI learning. They're just too much to cover in one video. So Claude's writing is just better. It produces better first drafts. The writing sounded more human when I tested against other models. It needed fewer revisions, and when you share examples of your existing work and your tone of voice, it matches your voice so your writing actually sounds like you. And I use Claude to draft presentations, emails, proposals, anything where the tone matters as much as the content itself. And for code, if you're into vibe coding, Claude writes functional code on the first try, more consistently than anything else I've used. And Gemini is amazing if you currently are a heavy Google Workspace user. Plus, it just has a much bigger and larger context window. So that means that if you need to get a lengthy video analyzed or a long slide deck, or let's say a massive page request from the client, you can get all of these processed in Gemini without any issue. And if you need to find something within your long email chains in Gmail, or let's say a very obscure document that you can't remember in a folder in a Google Drive, Gemini really shines through in those cases to help you save time and locate them and work off the back of them within your Gemini chat. So basically, pick the right chatbot for the right job really can help you to get the right results each time. Now, there's one specialist AI tool that I want to share with you, which I just love pairing up with my everyday AI chatbot assistants, and that's Perplexity. So Perplexity is designed to find accurate information that oftentimes are just missed out by models such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, who might hallucinate from time to time on information. So if your work requires you to have accurate source-based information, make sure to add Perplexity to your AI tool stack. For example, if I was working the research report for my client or writing a guest background information for the authors I interview on this channel, I want to make sure the cited research are actually verified by Perplexity as a double layer of checks for what ChatGPT or Claude created. And one more tip on this is that if you want to limit your research to just one specific source, you can use this prompt here, and this narrows your research down to one specific source. This next one is Wisperflow. I have to be honest, I didn't like text-to-speech features on my own Mac computer, or even when phone apps had it for a very long time, because I just didn't find it accurate enough to actually make it worthwhile. So I get really frustrated of having to edit everything and get back to typing anyway. And I started testing out Wisperflow purely out of desperation. I wanted to dictate a quick response to my team while I was on the walk chasing my very active daughter out in the playground. But what I found through my experience is that it was so much faster because we typically speak at 200 words per minute and we typically type at 50 words per minute. So I can produce writing 4 times as fast, capturing my thoughts on notes, dictating AI prompts that would have taken me so much longer to type out word by word. And what I liked about this tool is that it doesn't just transcribe, it cleans as it listens to you. So if you change your mind mid-sentence or made a mistake, it figures out what you meant. And if you say, let's say, 10 times, which happens when we're thinking out loud, right? It removes them. And what comes out the other side is just really clean and coherent text that you can send out or save as notes. So try it out for yourself. I started using it just for a few things, and now to the point that I literally can't go through a day without it on my phone and on my computer. By the way, I put together a free AI playbook that includes links to my favorite AI tools to help you build your own AI workflow from scratch. It covers the tools, the prompts, and the systems I actually use. You can grab your copy in the description below. This next tool is called Gamma. And this tool was created from the frustration of the founder who wasn't really a design guy himself when he was working in a corporate environment. So that's pretty much like me, designing presentations that don't actually showcase the idea in the best way. So many of us who are not natural designers, there's this design tax that most people pay without even realizing it. And I felt this firsthand across my whole entire career. When you build together a pitch for a client and the design wasn't good, then the idea, no matter how good it was, it won't land in the way that it deserved to. Because we judge the quality of thinking how it looks on the slide. And that's just the human nature, isn't it? So the problem is great design, it takes time, skill, and tools that most people just haven't been trained on. And Gamma helped me a lot with this. So here I share my existing website and branding with Gamma. And then Gamma designed this entire client deck that is really consistent, but yet beautifully created. It really is much better and way faster than what most people, including myself, could create when doing it manually. So if you want to try it out, head to the link in my description. It's free to get started. It might save you hours in your presentation. And thanks so much for Gamma for sponsoring this video. The next tool is NotebookLM. So here's something I don't think get talked about enough. We are living in the most information-rich moment in human history. And most of us were drowning in it. You can probably relate to this, right? I'm a naturally very curious person. I love reading. I love listening to podcasts, watching videos, coming across ideas that made me think differently. But when I actually needed something, let's say a useful framework I come across 6 months ago, something from maybe a podcast I half remembered, I couldn't find it. It was just buried somewhere across my notes, my browser tabs, and my saved articles, you name it, anywhere. And the time I spent looking for it, it was honestly worse than just starting from scratch. But here's the thing that made it worse. And even when I did find the source again, asked a general AI chatbot about it, I had no way to verify whether it told me it was actually accurate. And most AI models would give you a confident answer, whether or not it's grounded in anything real. And when you're creating content, training clients, using it at work, or making decisions based on that information, that matters a lot. And it matters to me. So that's the problem that NotebookLM solves for me. And it solves in a way that no other tool does. So you can upload your own sources, PDFs, YouTube videos, articles, research papers, your own notes. And then NotebookLM only answers from what you give it. It won't go off and invent something or hallucinate a statistic that sounds reasonable, which tools like ChatGPT would do a lot of times in my experience. So it will stay within the walls of your own material and cites exactly where that information came from, so you can actually check everything. And beyond this, you can also ask it to turn your research into, let's say, a quiz, a structured summary, a mind map, or even a podcast-style audio overview with 2 AI hosts discussing your notes to help you learn new concepts, which I found really helpful for me to speed up my own learning. And I use that feature on long research sessions that it was just generally useful as one of the best ways I found to actually retain information rather than just consuming it. So when accuracy matters more than speed, you need a tool that stays grounded in your sources, then give this tool a try. This next tool is called Granola. Let's talk about meetings for a minute here. Most of us are spending a huge chunk of our weeks in them. And we're doing this thing where we're half listening, we're half scribbling down notes, and somehow ended up with neither a good set of notes or the memory of what was actually decided during that meeting, right? So AI meeting tools have tried to solve this, but most of them, they do in a way that creates a new problem. They send this bot into your meeting, which is my biggest bugbear. And if you've ever been in a meeting recently where someone's AI bot joins uninvited, you know how that goes. People get really annoyed. So Granola works differently. It uses your system audio to capture the meeting in the background. There are no bots that joins. There's nobody know that it's there. And you can jot down rough notes during the call the way you normally would in the text box if you like within the app. I just don't do them anymore because I like to focus on the meeting instead. And then afterwards, Granola merges your notes with the full transcript automatically. So it kind of weaves them together into something that's much more structured and actually useful. There are also lots of use cases. So for example, for someone in a sales role, the ability to turn the transcript into a sales follow-up email that contains all the details mentioned during the call that actually drives someone to make a purchase, which could not only save time, but also help to bring in so much more business. And the thing that I love most about this is what it gives back to you in the room. You can actually be present now in your conversations on your meeting, which made my meetings so much more enjoyable. And a pro tip here is that you can also connect Granola to your everyday AI assistants like Claude and ChatGPT via connector, so that at the end of the meeting, the transcript can feed into your task manager like Notion or Asana and write up next steps and to-dos without you having to do it yourself. And all of this is in my free AI playbook, which you can download below. This last tool is for those who work with lots of visual images, and that is Google Nano Banana Pro. And this tool will help to cut down your production costs and time. Some of you might be wondering, why not Midjourney? I think Midjourney is amazing for those of you who are more technical, but for the majority of people who are watching this video here, Google Nano Banana Pro is far more superior for beginners, and it's easy to get started with. And I use it mainly for content visuals that go alongside my videos and my social media posts. I've been using Nano Banana Pro for these infographic whiteboard images on my LinkedIn posts, which has been such a great way to visually represent something that are more technical, like how to use Dispatch on Claude Cowork. As you can see here, it did a great job of mocking this up in 30 seconds. And I think what makes it different is the precise editing with just plain English. You don't need to learn a special syntax or spend hours tweaking parameters in technical tools. You can describe what you want and it delivers on that. And if it's not quite right, you can iterate back and forth with Nano Banana until you get to what you want. You just say, remove the background, change the color, make it more minimal, for example, and then it will adjust them based on what you say. The result is super photorealistic. And pro tip here is that if you need the image to be 4K in high resolution, you can access Nano Banana Pro directly through Google AI Studio and purchase additional credits to download your image with the settings that you want. So this is the AI stack that I would get started with if I had to start from zero today. It's not a lot, but that's the point, because you don't need to use everything out there and get overwhelmed. The people who actually get ahead with AI are not the ones using the most tools. They're the ones who chooses the right ones, learn them really well, go deep on each, and then build a workflow around them that becomes their personal system that actually save time and scale on what they do. So my best advice is don't try to do it all. Pick one tool from this list today, the one that solves your most urgent problem right now. Use it for a real task this week, then add the next one, because that's how you build something that actually sticks in your work over time. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like this one about how to become AI native without being technical. I'm Laurie, and thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these, and I'll see you in the next video.